Wish that you were better. Make sure everything's working. I use this other software, and they're like, today we're doing reconstruction, so we are not going live on Facebook. So I had to use Zoom. This is the first time I've used this platform. But
what do you usually use? Be Live or
Live? Yeah, Be Live is like under construction right now, which is kind of funny. But let's see if we're live. Okay, I think we're live, guys.
Cool.
Let's go. Let me make a post. How's Mexico treating you guys?
Dude,
Awesome.
It's awesome. But like we were just talking about, the sun's getting to us, and so is the playa nightlife down here. So trying to keep everything under wraps, you know?
Yeah. Like it was getting hot when I was there, but like I think now it's about to get really, really hot.
It's hot here,
yeah, dude. I can't even imagine.
we actually just went back into yellow here, so like everything's open till like even later now.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. Oh, really? So they're even more they're more open than
it's even more dangerous,
dude.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Guys, I'm super excited to have you guys both on. I know we go way back, but a lot of these people, you guys are like the low-key killers. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you hear people like in the background, you hear people like crushing it, but most people don't even know, and they don't even know. And I like the silent killers because they're the ones that typically have the most amount of fun from what I've been able. You guys are low key in the agency space, but when it comes to Mexico and having fun, not low key at all.
Should I grab my headphones?
100%.
Go for it. So
Yeah, dude.
we're gonna dive in. Ryan and I know Pierce is getting his headphones. We're typically the way I do this, we're gonna jump into a little bit about y'all's story, how you guys even got involved in this space, and then we'll dive into some of the questions that some of these people are gonna have. And yeah, usually it's about an hour or whatnot. So first things first, guys. If you're live with us, hashtag live. I'd love to see everybody that's commenting. If you guys have questions, comment your questions and we'll get to them. So guys, first things first, obviously the agency's thriving now, but looking at it 2.5, 3 years ago, when you guys first started, you guys weren't ever close to this. So what do you feel like, first off, how did you guys get started in this space? Because I know it was a little bit of multi-level marketing. You guys both have separate stories. How did it start?
Yeah, cool. I'll start here, Pierce. So it's actually funny, man. I went on a trip to Europe when I was a little bit younger. Came back, had absolutely no money, and couldn't find a job. It was the middle of summer. I had to go back to school that next year. I was in university, and I had to go back to school, and I had no money. But I heard about this guy who I had known before, and I heard he was doing Facebook ads. And that guy's on this live right now. His name is Pierce Grimes, and Pierce was kind enough to give me access to a course that he had purchased. It was about Facebook and funnels and basically building a local marketing agency. And for me, man, I struggled. I went back to school, decided to start an agency, got like 1 or 2 clients, made no money for like a really, really long time. And I decided to start investing in myself. And that's when everything changed for me. When I started investing in myself was when the tide started to turn. And that's when, funny enough, after a little bit of that period, when I was getting clients and doing well, me and Pierce decided to link up and kind of join arms in this solar agency that we're doing now. And now we've got a couple other things going on. But, that was kind of the starting point for me, was being broke and then Pierce helping me and then us linking arms like a year after that. So
that's amazing. So for Pierce, like for you, like how did it start for you? Because obviously you were in this before. How did you get in this world? I know, again, a little bit of network marketing. Got the Beamer from, shout out to BK Barreco. But how did you get it from MLM to digital marketing? Because it is similar, but very different in a sense.
Yeah. Honestly, it was kind of like a stroke of luck, to be honest. Ever since the network marketing days, I always knew I wasn't wasn't the corporate type guy, wanted to do something in entrepreneurship. Like I did door knocking even back in the day, just kind of grinding it out, stumbled across that course. It was like, I think it was Dan Henry's very first course, like FAFE, bought the course, $1,000. And I was like, holy shit. Like it was like the most expensive thing at the time.
Yes.
And he was like telling me about local businesses and how you can run ads and do this lead gen. I was dabbling in e-com before that. Like I had a store and somehow that store like kind of blew up and ended up selling it. So like people were kind of messaging me. I was like, just like knew the Facebook stuff. So it's like, okay, I already know a little bit about ads, but I could go and run leads for local businesses. That's 10 times easier than running ads for an e-com brand and get paid the exact same amount from these local businesses. So at first I was kind of in the grind. I would literally drive into local businesses. Like I would pull up to a dentist and walk in with like a binder and be like, all right, like, is the dentist available? I'd love to take 10 minutes of his time. So just kind of like grinded. And eventually started, making it work, making a little bit of money. Didn't have the right team and everything in place. Me and Ryan obviously knew each other from like network marketing days. We got connected. We both knew that we were kind of doing it. Our personality just collide really good. Obviously we kind of have different skill sets. So we kind of just were like, hey dude, let's form an agency and let's see what we can do. I think we just ended up on solar because one of Ryan's friends was actually in solar. And we ran a free solar campaign for him, like literally just like pro bono, absolutely killed it. The guy like got 19 deals in his first month. And then we're like, dude, we should just start a solar agency. So that's kind of like how we got into it. And obviously it's been a few years in the making.
That's amazing. So for you, like I don't want to skip too far. What made you want to go after the agency instead of like just sticking to e-com? Because obviously you had a store, it blew up, you sold it. Why not just start another store? Why not just, do coaching on an e-com, and why move to a completely separate entity?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for me was, like I was saying, the fulfillment on e-com. Like, other store owners were reaching out to me like, dude, can you do this for my store? Can you do this for my store? And I realized I was stuck on my laptop like 5, 6, 7, 10 hours a day in the ads manager building these things out, where it's not as duplicatable, where I was like, damn, I could just go and get the same amount of money from a local business and set up the exact same ad or very similar ads for more people. So I just saw like the scalability long term to be better if it's a little more duplicatable, a lot of things that you guys teach there. So that was kind of the biggest thing for me. We'll definitely have an e-com brand in the future. We'll be coming back in there, but for now, we're doing what we can here.
Got it. So then Ryan saw that you were doing a little thing. He dabbled with a couple clients and he's like, yo guys, let's do this together. And then again, it's funny. The last couple of people that I've talked to, the very first client you guys had was Nick Corum 2 weeks ago. And then Christian Benincourt last week. The first client of all you guys got, you guys just stuck with it, which is, you didn't even know about 7FA. You didn't know about Joel and what we went through because they didn't do that. So you guys got the free client. And started to get him some results. When did you like decide to go all in on solar? Was it like day one? Was it when you guys got him results? When do you feel like it was?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ray. Jump in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, there comes a time when you notice an opportunity in a market, and I kind of felt like, and we had dabbled in other markets. Like I was in fitness for a while, doing a lot of stuff over there. I know Pierce had done some other professional services, but like sometimes when you just see something and you just see like a pathway to run with, and I feel like at the time it was so, I don't want to say new, but it was so ready and able to be taken advantage of that we just decided to like plant our flag and go for it. And we see that right now in some other opportunities and some other stuff that we're doing. But like, I think it's just like the intuition to see when there's an opening and like take advantage of it. And like, dude, that's just what being an entrepreneur is. It's just like, kind of taking that risk and going for it and planting your flag and, seeing if it works out. You know what I mean?
The best thing that I love, like you guys are actually doing good with your niche. Like there's some niches out there. You're like, dude, I don't really want to sell this, right? I don't want to call any niches out, but solar, like you feel good every time a solar panel gets installed in a house. Like you're like saving earth in a sense, right? And you guys are helping them grow their business and they're actually doing something good for their business. So it's like an inception of feeling good. So you dabbled, got your first client. When did you guys start getting more clients and how did you guys get them? Was it through paid ads? Was it organically? Like I know, Pierce, you have door knocking experience. So solar is very familiar with that. How did you guys go and get your next few clients?
I think we started off with a little bit of like cold email. We went from there. I mean, at first we were a little bit scared to invest. Like a lot of people may be, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't want to put a few $1,000s in a paid ad. So I believe we actually had someone we kind of like partnered with, and he was doing email with us and we were paying him on every time like we closed a deal. So he was just like getting me on maybe like 3 to 5 demos like every 2 weeks or something. It wasn't a crazy amount, but we were kind of relying on him with cold email. Obviously still works. Obviously now it's, I would say like 75% paid ads, another 30% referrals. Obviously, when you build, customer base, people are happy. You give them cool incentives to refer you people, so they will. But it was originally cold email until we had maybe like 10 to 15 clients. And then we kind of just went all in paid ads. I know we were doing a little bit of paid ads before we jumped into 7FA, but that's when, Sergio's famous line was like, spend more. That's when it kind of came to us. We're like, all right, let's start spending a little bit more and see what we can do.
So before you guys joined 7FA, you guys already had, I think you guys were doing already like 10 to 20K a month, right? So like you had some success, but like before that, what was the hardest thing for you guys? Was it like getting fulfillment for these clients? Was it acquiring clients? Like what was the reason you guys even wanted, coaching and help?
Yeah. I think I would say it was a few things, and what 7FA changed, there's like a couple key pillars that we could like point out for sure. I think one of the biggest things was the sales process, and really just getting a new client was like, I don't want to say it was difficult because we had invested tons of money in learning sales processes. But one of the things that we were doing is we were trying to do like a high ticket coaching close on people who were buying agency services, and that wasn't working for us. So that immediate shift when we joined 7FA helped. And then also just like systems and customer management was like two other big things. Definitely systems, like the systems before were like non-existent. Once we joined 7FA, they became existent. And so that was like another massive thing. I don't know if Pierce has something else he wants to throw in there, but those two things were huge.
Yeah, I think for me, I know me and Ryan have always been pretty natural when it comes to sales. We were doing a lot of like one call closes on the phone. That demo deck was absolutely a lights out game changer, I would say, like for me personally. And the 2-call close, transitioning from the 1 call over the phone to intro call to a demo call, like the close went from like 10% to like 35% just from that alone. So the sales process was great. Systems were obviously something like we didn't have Slack, we didn't have, Asana and Zapier and all this stuff. It was kind of all manual on spreadsheets and stuff. Those are the two biggest things. I think fulfillment, we kind of already had locked down. Like we both came from that ads background. So we knew how to get results, but I mean, with a lot of agencies, it's like a lot of agencies know how to get results, but and they know how to get their clients more clients, but a lot of people struggle on how to get their own clients, right? So that was a big thing for us. And I think just like narrowing down and kind of figuring out that sales process, coming up with an irresistible offer that people really want to buy is like the big thing that made the change for us.
That's huge. One of the things that I've known about you guys for a while, even when we first met, like it was almost 2 years ago in Denver, that not only are you guys good at fulfillment, but you guys are also talented in sales. So how did you guys split it up? Or is it like one of you guys doing sales? Were both of you guys doing sales? Like, cause it sounds like when you don't have Slack and you don't have any of these systems, I feel like it was just like rock, paper, scissors, who's taking the next sales call.
Yeah, it essentially was, man. Like me and Pierce used to have days where we would just like pull out a spreadsheet and we would just be like, yo, you call X person, I'll call Y person. We would just work our way down the spreadsheet because that's all we could do, right? But like, dude, at the end of the day, yeah, I would say that we're both pretty good at sales. How we break it up, honestly, even to today, it's more of just like a look-see-do type method of what we're gonna do and what we're gonna attack. But for a long time there, man, it was just kind of like, I'm going to build this system today. You do the sales. We would just like kind of break it up. And even today being, so similar in terms of like really good at marketing and really good at sales, but also wanting to build systems. It's just kind of like, what are you going to tackle? What am I going to tackle? That's how we break it up.
100%. Like when one of the things that I feel like a lot of agencies struggles with is that they're doing this everything on their own. They're doing the sales, they're doing fulfillment, they're doing prospecting, all that stuff. Do you guys advise like new agency owners if they're starting fresh to look for a partner, to like find someone like a Pierce, find someone like a Ryan, and like go on this together? Because for you guys, it sounds like, you guys were kind of cool and both in Canada. So like things worked out. Like you said, like Pierce said, was luck. But like if you were brand new, would you go seeking a partner, or would you try to do everything yourself?
I mean, I like having a partner just because, like I said, and I've heard a lot of people say this, like if you're really strong at one certain skill set, go in and then find someone who's good at something you're not good at, right? You don't want to go find someone who's both good at fulfillment and no one knows how to do sales. If you're really good at fulfillment, go find someone who knows how to do sales. And at the beginning, you can kind of separate, and eventually you kind of want to come together where you can build a team. Like that was a big thing for us. It's like investing in a team, growing the team. And now, me and Ryan's day to day are more like, okay, how can we continue to grow? How can we continue to bring more people in? And how can we continue to improve our systems, make everyone happy, automations, fulfillment, client success, et cetera, versus, okay, I got to get on 4 demo calls today, plus do another intros. Now I have no time to do anything, and you're working in your business versus on it. So that was a big thing that really helped us scale to where we are now, was like bringing people in and delegating tasks. But at first I would say, try to find someone that, skill set you're not good at, come in, take over that half, he can take over that half, and then eventually you guys can come together and bring people in to help out with both those roles.
Do you agree, Ryan? Same thing?
Yeah, 100%. I think really kind of filling the holes of what you're weak at is the number one thing. But I also just think that Pierce said it, like, you can give people equity, you can find partners and do all those things. But like the number one thing that new agencies struggle with is honestly just getting clients. So you just got to go out and get some clients. It's the most profitable thing that you can do as a new agency owner, is strategy sessions, demos, and getting new clients, for sure.
Yeah, because I worked with Marcos and Joel, because I know you guys and I know all these other partners like Nick and Brett. People always ask me, how do I find a partner? And I answer that the same thing is like, when someone tells you go find a business partner, is the same person that's going to tell you go find a wife. It's there's no formula to it, right? You guys knew each other. You're in the same state. Like Marcos and Joel knew each other from like in a business event. Like it's unlikely to happen, which is why you've got to focus on your best skill sets. And like you just said, Ryan, you got to focus on getting new clients, whatever it takes. So got it. So we're looking
at the accountability there too as well.
Huge
is absolutely huge. Like, when me and Ryan was talking about, like, we would just have a spreadsheet and we'd be like, all right, you call this guy, call that guy.
Yes.
It's so much more fun doing that when we're on Zoom and we're like hearing each other call the guy and like, oh, this guy's interesting, we got a lead, versus like you're sitting at home doing it by yourself.
Yes.
Way less motivated, not as fun. So to like bounce ideas off somebody and make some phone calls, it just makes it more fun. And I think that's the big thing as well.
I think it's building a business is you got to have the fun in it. You're getting a shout out here from Mr. Duda. So we're looking at summer of 2019. You guys were starting to get things rolling, and then I know you guys were actually the 10th people that joined 7FA, even when we didn't even know what we were doing. We knew what we were doing inside of the agency. As far as coaching, we were brand new. So you joined, things were starting to roll in, systems are in place. Was it just you two when you guys joined? Did you guys have any VAs? Was there any salespeople? Like, when did you guys start hiring people in this process?
Yeah, I think there might have been one guy who was helping us, maybe 1 or 2 people helping us with cold email. That might have been the formula, but like I still remember the call that we had to join 7FA. And Pierce knows I buy information, like I buy anything, like crazy. So dude, we were right on it. I think we made the perfect decision. But would you agree with that, Pierce? Was it like 2 people, maybe 1 person helping us with cold email?
Yeah,
like
I mean, we probably had 1 person who was helping us with cold email, and we weren't even paying them. Like I said, it was only a pay and a close deal, so it was like great keeping the margin low there. And then I think we had like 1 VA who would maybe help out with like some admin tasks, like setting up campaigns, pretty much like, a few things that we needed that, obviously you can find on Upwork and other stuff. But other than that, it was literally just me and Ryan, the one guy in cold email, kind of just like doing his thing. He, I think he had another job. He had a wife and kids and stuff. He would just kind of make a little bit extra income. And then 1 VA that was just like helping with some admin stuff there.
That's amazing. So like things started to scale. You got your team in place. At what point were you guys, okay, like this shit is really working? Like we're actually scaling, because obviously 10, 15, 20K a month, you guys are, it's like baby money, right? But at what point do you guys feel like, man, it started to click? Was it like when ads were starting to roll? Was it when clients started referring you people? Like at a certain point it does click. And I think for a lot of people, it hasn't clicked yet and they're brand new, right? We have about 30 people watching this right now. And I know some of them are still new and still struggling. At what point do you guys feel like it clicked?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I feel like, one day we kind of like looked down at our cost per acquisition on Facebook, and it was just like awesome, and I feel like that's when things started to really start to roll, when we cracked paid ads and like really started to get the sales process down. Like our sales process is like completely fleshed out now, but there was a point where it wasn't at all, right? Like me and Pierce talked about, like calling the spreadsheet list. So where did it click? I don't know if you can exactly like point to a definitive spot, but like maybe passing 30K in revenue might have been a point that was like pivotal for us, like where we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, man, I think it was more just like cracking paid ads and like bringing on a team, bringing on people that could take away tasks from us. day to day, that was like the most groundbreaking thing that I would say. And Pierce probably has a different opinion on that, but
yeah, I mean, like I can't really put like an exact number on that either, but I would definitely say like, investing in a team is super important. Sure, it could hurt a little bit at the beginning, but like sometimes I'll, have half our team is here in Mexico with us. One of our sales guys is here, on a demo today. I'm like waking up and he's like taking the guy's credit card information, and I'm like just rolling out of bed. I'm just like, damn, dude. Like I remember when I was doing that, like 5 demos a day, et cetera. And it's just like cool to see, obviously that formula obviously doesn't happen overnight, but I think it was, when we maybe hit like 30K a month, we're really like, dude, we need to figure this out. The only way we're going to hit 100K a month is if we bring in more people. Like there's going to be a ceiling, no matter, who you are. If it's 1, 2 people, where you need to really go, and you can go and probably do, bigger numbers with a smaller team, but is it going to last? Is it going to be sustainable? Are you going to be working 12 hours a day? I'd rather be doing what I love, hanging out and not working as much with a bigger team versus, trying to do everything myself and grinding 12, 14-hour days.
Yeah. Just depends on what you want out of it, right? Some people like love working 12, 16, 17 hours and they'll do everything themselves. Some people, I think we're younger. So like for us, like, we'll risk some profit margins, but we'll enjoy life, right? Net life over net worth. So that's huge, man. So at what point did you guys start hiring like a salesperson, an account manager? Was it like a number you guys were waiting? I know I get asked that all the time because obviously it was just you two for a long time, maybe like sounds like at least for a year or whatever. At what point did you guys hire a salesperson, an account manager? Which one came first for you guys?
yeah. So
I'm sure who it was.
I want to say, well, I know that the salesperson came first, which was like really pivotal because it kind of, finally got us off the phones, and it finally got our trust in someone else, right? Like I remember getting on a call in 7FA coaching call and just being like, yo, how do we let the reins go and like just let someone else take over? And that was a really big moment for us. But salesperson came first. And then, I think I took on a little bit more like the account management side and kind of doing some of that stuff. And then that's when we brought on an account manager who is now our operations manager, managing other account managers. So that's kind of the process and how that worked.
Got it. And now you guys have been doing solar for, over, if not 2 years, like right around the 2 year, a little over 2 year mark, which has been pretty amazing. So for people that are in the solar niche, and I know we got a couple people, shout out to Philip and other people in 7FA and, outside of 7FA as well. What do you feel like is, if you guys can go back when you guys first started the agency, what are some things that you wish you knew about solar that you know now?
That's a good question. The one thing I like about solar is, you'll run into people who are actually like, they're educated, right? They're selling a solar system. You need to have an electrical license, obviously at least some people on your team to do that. So they're a little more educated on the process. They're more open to new ideas versus like, you go work with like a roofer or something. It's just like call the guy. He's like, oh, I'm on a roof, blah, blah, blah. Like he just knows how to hammer a nail into a roof. So a little bit more educated, but I would say, we kind of just stumbled into solar. It wasn't like something we're like, dude, we got to start a solar niche. It's like that free client we stumbled into and got good results. And everyone, we started, actually, I remember our agency started, was August 2019. That was like when we came together and started the agency there. So I don't even believe it's actually been 2 full years yet.
Yeah, year and a half.
It's like a year and a half there. Yeah. But I would say like, the biggest thing was like everyone was going after all the same niches, dentists, chiros, doctors, gyms. That's what anyone talk about. Every ad I would see like, oh, let me show you how to get a dentist client. So I was like, we just got to step out of the box and do something different. But the biggest thing that I would say is there's enough fish in the sea for everyone. So, they're educated people, get down an irresistible offer, really grind on that sales process, and people will come on board. Like, so, I kind of wish that we just had more systems and, a good sales process in place versus just kind of struggling, figuring it out as we go. And, having people like yourself and the rest of the 7FA team to help guide us through that.
That's huge. What about you, Ryan? Like if you can go back to August. So I didn't realize, I thought you guys were even before that, but so August, in a young Ryan that's like just starting out in just solar. I want to talk specifically on solar because it's, to me, solar, the one thing I really love about solar, like I said, you guys are helping the environment. All that stuff is good, but there are more. Solar is growing as an industry. right? Obviously dental and chiro, they've been around, roofing and HVAC, they've been around. There's not much new, but solar is changing on a regular basis. You got Elon Musk's company, all that stuff. So you go back to Ryan in August of 2019. What is like something you were like, man, this, you got to know this when you're selling solar, when you're fulfilling them outside of like systems sales process. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, you're right, man. Solar's popping right now. I see more people jumping into the solar niche, whether it's, you know, in lead gen or not. Tons of people coming into solar. We get hit up all the time. Our stuff's been bid a ton of times. But dude, what I would say is and this is kind of a generic answer, but like, dude, if you want to make 10 times more money, go out and know the market 10 times better. Like understand the avatar and understand who you're writing to when you're writing an ad, and understand who you're speaking to when you get on the phone, and you're going to do a lot better. Like, I mean, so many people just think that they can like jump in and, you know, everything is just going to be the way that it is, but you have to understand who you're talking to, especially when it comes to like copywriting ads, all those things, crafting an offer. Like, what does my ideal client want to hear as they're going through the sales process, which has been huge for us. That's what I would say, man, is like, we didn't really know too much about the market when we jumped in. Fortunately, you know, people started to join our program, but that's what I would say, man. Just understand.
I would also say language too. Like talking their language is probably one of the most important things for some of the solar guys who are in that niche. Like they probably don't talk about like KW, like 7 KW system size, and knowing like the average commission or the profit margin on a deal that they would actually sell. Like the questions, oh, you know, how much sun do they get, the shade of the roof, how much can they offset their electric bill? Like speaking the same language is really, really important, because then it kind of portrays you as like an expert in that field, right? Same thing, you're talking to a doctor, exact same language. So, you know, just kind of knowing the language of how to talk to them, you know, talking about like the KWs. Oh, well, how much you sell dollar per watt? Oh, I'm selling 7 KWs at $3 a watt. I can go, okay, 7 times 30,000. That's how I know what the deal, or times 3,000. So I know what the deal size is going to be, right? So if you kind of speak their language, they understand you, that you're educated and that you can actually help them.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys actually like worked in the field, right? Someone actually asked if you guys own your own solar company, and I don't think you guys do, right?
Not yet.
But it sounds like you guys do, because you have the language, right? You have the language, and it sounds like you guys are them. So one of the best compliments you can get on a sales call is when they ask you, do you guys own a solar company? Because it sounds like I'm talking to someone that does, you know what I'm saying? So, but this took time. I'm sure back in August 2019, KW and 3 and 4, it's like, what the, and it's really, I think what helped you guys is like being out there on a regular basis, being on those demos and intros and getting turned down. And, bro, you guys don't even know what KW is? Like, what the fuck? Like, but obviously over time, you start learning it. Got it, dude. So fast forward to now, things are working. We're back in line. We got a team working. You guys are in freaking Mexico. If you guys don't know, Pierce and Ryan actually live in Canada. So right now in Canada, it's snowing, it's blizzard, it's cold, it's closed. They're in Playa del Carmen, and they're like in one of the best parts of Mexico. And this is what you get. Like, I hate like putting the cliche, but this is what you get when you work your ass off. And they did not do, this was not the case a year ago. This was not even the case 6 months ago, because now things started to roll, and the team is in there. Like, what do you guys foresee the future as far as you guys first off, and then actually want to go into solar as well? Like, what are your goals for the next, let's say Q2, and then by the end of the year?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think our biggest focus right now, to be honest with you, isn't necessarily getting more clients. Like, for instance, I think we signed up 20 people last month in terms of like new clients coming on board, which is awesome. But for us, it's more just like improving our product, right? Like improving our product will lead to improved revenue per subscriber on our, you know, in our program. So that's what I think our biggest focus is. And then in terms of like personal stuff, we obviously have a couple of different things that we're working on that we just want to develop. And I think that's kind of like our biggest focus for the business. And I think we, you know, I think our goal was to like double this year. So I definitely think that that's possible as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember at the beginning of like 2020 or December of last year, me and Ryan kind of got together. We did a little bit goal setting. We're like, dude, what do we want to hit this year? Like, what are we looking at? And I think we said the goal was like 250K a month, which probably do that by like August of this year. Hopefully that's kind of what we're kind of on track for there. But I definitely agree. It's like definitely just focusing on creating a better product. Like, you got a good product, people want to join you, right? If you just sign people up and they're leaving after 30 days and your churn rate is really high, it's like 60% or something. It's really hard. If you're adding 20 clients a month, that's great. But if you're losing 15 of them, you're never going to get to that, you know, waste of work. You're never going to kind of clockwork over and over again. So creating the better product. I know we went from like monthly agreements to like 90 days or longer, which has really helped as well, bringing the people, especially in solar, where sometimes it's a bigger buying decision for a homeowner to put a $30,000 solar unit on their roof. Like, they're not going to make a decision like buying an ice cream cone when they come around to your house, right? So a longer buying process, which gives us a little bit more time to get them results, which also leads to them staying in the program longer, and turns to, it's a higher lifetime valued customer. So I definitely think, in terms of the business goal, that's kind of what we're looking at. And then obviously, me and Ryan are looking at some other things with some real estate. I'm a big Bitcoin guy. He's not really that much. So I've been trying to motivate him to get some Bitcoin.
It's all right. They'll come around, Pierce. They'll all come around. That's awesome, man. That's wonderful. And we don't obviously, you guys don't have to get too specific about that stuff, but I want to take it back actually one more step. So if you guys had to get your first client in solar today, do you think what you did with your, obviously that person kind of was hinted to you guys, but would you guys offer free trials? Would you guys try to sign up someone on a contract? What do you feel like for solar specifically? Does it make sense to do a month to month when you're starting out to just figure things out? Or it's like, hey, let me sign you up for 90 days. Some months are going to be better than others, and let's go from there.
If we were going to get our first client today, dude, honestly, I would probably, it depends on, there's obviously a hypothetical scenario, but
sure.
I would definitely probably flip on some ads, but I would make it realistic. Like some of the claims that we see and some of the ads that we see are just astronomically like never going to happen. So dude, I would make it super realistic. I would hammer them with expectations, and I would let them know that, hey, every lead we generate for you isn't going to be a home run, but every lead that we generate for you is a chance for you to get a new deal in, which is going to get you an ROI on our program. And so that's what I would definitely say. To actually get the new clients though, I would probably either start with cold email, which is what we crushed it with at the very beginning, which still works. We still have cold email going. Or I would go ahead and flip on an ad at a low budget and, see what you can do. And yeah, I definitely wouldn't do a free trial. I don't think, anybody should do anything for free. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I do think that you should give a guarantee and set realistic expectations. Otherwise, the person's going to be upset no matter what. They got to know what they're paying for.
What about you, Pierce?
Yeah, I definitely think expectation setting is really important, especially like on our onboarding call now. They're like 40 minutes to like an hour, because we set nail down the expectations. Like our ops manager, account manager gets on a call, they're not going through the conversation section to go high level. It's like, hey, this is something we expect you to do on this onboarding call that we told you about. So expectations are huge. If I were to get my first client, if I didn't know anything about ads or anything, I definitely think cold email would be the way. Testimonials and results are great. You could go get a free trial, but even I see when we did free trials at the beginning, I've done it definitely in the past. It's like, you can get them the greatest results in the world, but then when they have to start paying you, they just don't want to, even though you absolutely did great for them. It's like, well, maybe I'll just go get another free trial from someone else. And those are the bottom feeders. It's kind of like everyone's seen that meme. It's like the $500 client versus the $5,000 client. Yeah. Exact same thing there. So I would say, if you kind of already got great fulfillment, you got a good product, just give it a shot. Even 30 days. You don't have to go and do a 90-day thing. I don't think we switched till 90 days till I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago or something, fairly new change. So yeah, I would just flip on an ad. You can start with $5 to $10, $20 a day, get some leads, kind of learn the language, learn the sales process, and it will come. It's not going to happen overnight. Don't get motivated, get that rhino skin. And once you close someone, you obviously get that rush and you get that high and you get really excited, and it just makes you want to go do more and more and more and more of that. And you're like, wow, imagine if I had 5 people doing 5 of these a day, what could that look like? So I think paid ads is super important, and it's a lot of agencies don't do it. And it's by far the fastest way to scale and get as many clients as you want.
Let's say someone doesn't have money, right? Because obviously everybody comes from different backgrounds. You have family, kids. We're all thank God we don't, I know Pierce, you have a relationship, but we don't have kids. I think that's a huge component of us, being able to do whatever the hell we want in a sense. But some of these people do have children and they're a little older and they don't have a lot of money to spend on ads. What's your number one advice besides paid ads to get clients? I know cold email you guys mentioned. Would you guys start cold calling? Would you go in person? What are some of the things that you guys would do if it was again coming down to solar?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be walking into businesses for sure. That's especially solar. A lot of solar guys are sales reps and they're door knocking. So they don't even go into an office. So I definitely wouldn't be doing that. I think cold calling and cold email are going to be your best case scenario. Like you can get, it's not like, like a dentist where they have a front desk lady who's answering the phone and like not getting you to the decision maker. A lot of the time you'll get on the phone with that decision maker. So kind of do like, that hook, catch their attention, give them a reason to want to get on a sales call. I wouldn't try to pitch them right there. I would just, try to qualify them and see what's good. Hey, like, what are you kind of doing? You've been in the solar industry for a while. How many installs are you doing? What's an install look? What size is your average unit? What area are you in? Figure out that. Obviously, some areas are better than other in solar, depending on the market. So if you think they're in a good market, hey, dude, we love the market. We really think you can help you out. We'd love to just take 30 minutes of your time next week and show you our system and see if we can help you out.
What about you, Ryan? If you had to start and get your first client today, you have $0.
Yeah,
paid ads.
Yeah, $0 for paid ads. That would be a very sad day. But if I actually didn't have any money for paid ads, what I would do is I would trade my time. So what I would go out and do is I'd find, hey, where is my market hanging out? Yes. I think for solar, a really good place to go would probably be on LinkedIn or Facebook or email, and trade your time for what you would be able to spend your money on, which is essentially, sending cold DMs. I'm going to send 50 cold DMs today. I'm going to send, 10 cold emails, or I'm going to do whatever over on this side where I can use all my time to go get clients. And once you get 2-3 clients, just be super cash conscious and then go invest it in either a VA doing that stuff or in ads, which is going to eventually replace that lead flow. That's what I would do. Trade your time instead of your money.
I love that. What do you guys foresee the future as far as solar goes? Do you guys think like in the next 10 years, every home is going to have solar?
I think it's got like a great 5-year outlook for sure in terms of a 5-year outlook, definitely in the US, just with, a lot of the stuff that's going on.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be booming. I think that certain states are going to pick it up, faster than others. And that's where the real growth is going to happen. Like when you actually look at the industry, a couple of states adopted really fast, like California, for instance, and some other southern states. Some states, dude, are really lagging behind, and we can actually see that from the ad metrics. Like if we run an ad in a place that's not super saturated with solar, the lead cost is like way lower. So I think that it's got a great 5-year outlook. I think that a lot of homeowners are going to go solar, but I guess we'll see.
Same thing with your peers. It's just time will tell.
Time will tell. Honestly, I mean, in California, I do know they have a new law coming in with every new build in certain areas. You actually have to have solar on your roof. So like they're actually like implementing it. With Biden coming in, I mean, he said he wanted to invest $1 trillion into renewable energy as well. So obviously, that looks good. And there's government incentives, like you can get a 30% tax credit. I think it's 26 now, 26% tax credit if you go solar. So, your system's 30K, you get 26% back of that in the tax credit. So there are these incentives to make people want to go solar. I don't think everyone's going to go solar because some people are like, ooh, that looks ugly on my roof. Like I don't want to have solar on my roof. But, if it's helping people and people are actually saving money on electricity, I think, majority of people will go solar. Like you're saying with, Tesla coming out, they have solar power walls. Like we had a guy just running solar Tesla power walls and everyone was freaking buying those things just because it had the Tesla name on it. So I think it's definitely still, new and going to be in that upcoming over the next 5-6 years. But eventually there's going to be a point where if everyone has solar, it's like we need to build more land to build more houses to get solar on it. So there obviously is, a point, but it's definitely looking good over the next few years.
Solar, Tesla, Bitcoin. I see that. That's the future of society. So I know some of the things you guys have dabbled in. I do want to talk a little bit about the e-com agency a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit more because on the Facebook side, one of the things you guys are starting to do, and I don't know if you guys already started, is the YouTube world, right? You guys are in the YouTube ads now. If you were a new agency, do you think Facebook ads is like saturated just in general and it's good to just start with YouTube and Google? Or do you think that Facebook is, you still get cheap leads and it's easier to learn and, scale in a sense? What are your thoughts on like other platforms?
Yeah, I don't think we're at the point where we would be like, don't go to Facebook and only go to YouTube. I think the YouTube's a great traffic source. We've closed a ton of people from YouTube, but I don't think that it's overtaken Facebook yet. For an agency owner, the first thing that I would say is go out and crack paid ads. It doesn't matter if they're on YouTube, doesn't matter if they're on Google, doesn't matter if they're on Facebook. Just figure out where your market is go place an ad in front of them, learn the messaging, and go get clients. That's the number one thing that I would say. For Facebook versus YouTube, I prefer Facebook just because it's where I come from. But I know Pierce sets up all our YouTube ads, so you can speak a little bit more on that, Pierce.
Yeah, honestly, like more recently for inbound, like to get leads into our agency, YouTube has actually been cheaper. Like we get cheaper applications, like $15-20 apps of like 8 questions on YouTube versus Facebook.
Wow.
It's like $40 to sometimes $80, a little bit more
Wow.
expensive. If you're looking at like outbound, like for our actual clients, like we'll see cheaper leads on Facebook than we will on YouTube. So it's actually more expensive to get a homeowner to want to install on YouTube versus Facebook. You know, it's a little bit cheaper, but we find the quality can be a little bit higher on YouTube. It's a little bit harder to crack. The biggest thing I think with YouTube is like the video, right? You need to be able to be good on video, good call to action, good reason for them to want to click in. But 100%, I think Facebook is a lot easier platform to use. So I would definitely kind of, you know, pick one. Don't go, if you're new, like go and try to do both. The only reason we kind of popped even and explored YouTube and Google, I believe, is like we had a business manager shut down our ads roughly like 2 weeks, and we're like, yo, we need to get some back on. Like, and I just like started testing a bunch of stuff on YouTube and eventually, you know, got it. So, you know, pick one, whatever you're good at, kind of go with that platform. When you're ready to increase your budget, kind of, you know, transition over. But obviously more platforms, more problems. So, you know, take it one step at a time. I would definitely consider starting with Facebook. And then, you know, when you're ready to spend 10-20K a month, you can incorporate both.
And one more thing about YouTube, Pierce, do you use YouTube just to attract clients, or do you also use it for fulfillment?
We use it for both.
Interesting. So it's better to just start with Facebook and then kind of one thing at a time, just like one niche at a time. So I know, obviously, you know, Solar's killing it, doing 6-figure months now. Things are automated. You got salespeople, you got account managers, everything's working. But now you guys have opened like a separate, like almost like a little baby. It's like your baby number 2 in a sense. These are your actual babies. And you start with e-com, and that scaled pretty fast because of your knowledge in the space. Do you recommend someone that is scaling to look into another agency? What was your core reason to start an e-com agency? Because I know you're an e-com guy at heart. So like this was bound to happen. Did you wait for the Solar to hit a certain level? Was it like, I gotta wait? Like what made you guys want to start a second agency in a sense?
I mean, I kind of had a little bit of experience in e-com. When me and Ryan first got together, we actually had like separate agencies that weren't, you know, doing anything crazy. And I did have some e-com clients. So I've always enjoyed e-commerce, like, you know, the ads being more creative. It's cool seeing sales come in. So like, I just liked it. And obviously, you know, the one big thing that we seen was, yeah, we want to automate solar, you know, but there's a limit of how many solar companies are. There's tens,
100%.
hundreds of millions of e-commerce businesses. So there's just so many businesses that were like, dude, we've already figured out how to scale an agency. Let's go and do something that we like to do, we're good at. And, you know, I believe we got like 45 clients in 90 days in e-com, which is pretty crazy.
That is wild. Was this something that you guys were using your same staff for? Was it something that you guys did yourself? Like, yo, we're going to start this and we'll do this on our own.
We invested right away
into a team. Yeah, we got a team right away. That was the biggest thing, is that we wanted to keep everything separate, number one, but number two is also like, we knew the core pieces of the team that we needed. And so we immediately put those people in place to make sure that it was a little bit less on just me and Pierce when we're running a full nother agency.
Do you guys, for someone that is struggling in a niche, right? Because obviously things worked out great. You guys are both like multi-talented. That's really rare to be good at sales and fulfillment. That's fucking insane. Usually it's one or the other. But someone that's been in same niche for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, has 1 or 2 clients. Like, at what point do you guys feel like you would have changed or switched if it just didn't work? Because that didn't happen. And I feel like, yeah, of course there was crossroads and, you know, no systems, but you guys were always, seems like there was always clients coming in. But for someone that's not as good at sales and they couldn't find a salesperson, at what point do you guys recommend to pivot and like, yo, go try something else? Maybe you're better at speaking with doctors or roofers or HVAC people.
Yeah. I think the number one thing was for me, because I actually was at that point at one stage with fitness. Like, I had 1 or 2 gyms that were paying me. And, you know, I really had to like make a transition. And so like, I'm taking on clients in other areas, you know what I mean? Like, I remember at one point, like I had a pool building company and I, you know, was taking on all these other people. So like, I, would do my marketing around my niche, but like if I got another client on a whim, like I would have friends be like, oh, you do Facebook ads, like come take on this X, Y, and Z person. Like don't turn down those opportunities, because at the end of the day, you never know when something's going to click like it did for us. Like I got a whim solar client for free, and that's what ended up starting an entirely new agency. And I know that might not be widespread advice. Like most people want to like niche down, but like at the same time, if you have one or two clients, like you should probably go out and find some developments in other areas and stuff, especially if you're stuck for a while. Don't continue to do what you're doing and, trying to find different results with it. Definitely change either, how you're getting clients or, the niche that you're in.
Yeah. What about you, Pierce?
Yeah, I would definitely say you want to explore your options. Like at first, I remember when I first started agency, before me and Ryan were even connected, like 3 years ago, I had, a separate agency just kind of on my own. And I would take on anyone who was willing to pay me. I would want to run their ads for. I didn't care if they were a dentist, a doctor, a chiro, a gym, whatever it was. I was like, I got you. Don't worry. I'm your man. I can do it. And then kind of see what the results you get, right? And then kind of let the results and result driven be the main factor of what you want to do. Like, and number one, that, and then number two, it's like, you got to like working with these people, right? Like I remember before we kind of transition, I had a few roofing clients, and I just didn't like the space. I didn't like their attitude and their approach and everything, where it's just like, I didn't enjoy doing it, even though we can get them results. I didn't like talking to those type of people. So that's where I kind of made a transition. You got to like what you do, but you also want to be more results driven of like, okay, I have 5 different niches. I'm getting the best results in this niche. Maybe I should go and test that out. And then obviously scaling, is important to kind of niche down. It's very, very hard to scale something if you're doing custom ads for 10 different companies. It's a lot harder than doing 10 ads for the 10 same companies.
Interesting. So we got about like little less than 10 minutes. So things are looking bright. The goal is to get to 250K per month, which is pretty nuts because you guys are not even 2 years in, and obviously things are working really well. And there's a certain level of talent that takes, when hard work meets talent, this is what happens. So for people that are at a level where they're doing 10, 20, 30K a month, what do you guys think when you guys were, inside of 7FA, maybe people that are outside of 7FA, what was the number one, like the deciding factor when you guys were starting to scale consistently? Was it like invest more into paid ads? Because it sounds like there was a time you guys are scared of, but now paid ads is like your go-to. You guys are spending a lot of money on a regular basis. Is it like go all in on paid ads? Would you say it's go in on a sales system? What's like that one thing you're like, you guys have to do this, otherwise you're going to be stuck at the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K a month?
Yeah, I would just say if you're stuck somewhere, or you're trying to get to another level, is figure out exactly how many demos or sales calls that you need to get there, and then figure out whatever it's going to take to get to that level, which I know is the most basic advice ever. But like, I wouldn't say throw cold email out the window if you want to switch to paid ads. If cold email is working, like if something's working, double down, triple down on it until you can't anymore, and then go find another traffic source while you keep this one going. That's what I would say. But the number one thing to just getting to the next level is just figuring out exactly how you can get more sales calls on your calendar, or better yet, your team's calendar to scale up. And then it just comes down to building a better product. That would be my advice.
Yeah, I mean, on mine, I think, paid ads are definitely important. Like you can go and get 3, 5, 6 clients a month from cold email and some VA sending messages. But like, if you want to do it at scale, like I said, the fastest way to scale, that's what we've been able to add like 20 clients a month, is because we're investing in paid ads. So, and you can start small, like small stepping stone. And like Ryan kind of said, just reverse engineer it. If out of every 10 demos you get on, 3 people are signing up, and you want to sign up 6 people next month, you got to do 20 demos. If you can get 20 people on the demo call, you got a good chance of hitting those numbers. So I definitely think, kind of just investing in yourself, in your business is something that it's always going to continue to grow. I know me and Ryan are always continuing to invest in more coaches and products to kind of take us to that next level. But I think I remember when I had my first 10K month, I think that was like more exciting for me than like hitting 50K a month or 100K. Like, I don't know why. It's just like when I first got in, I was like, damn, the people are making like 10K a month. That's insane. Like, I can't believe it. And then you kind of just like outgrow that person.
Yes.
You set higher standards for yourself, and obviously, you want to, live a cool life depending on what you want to do. You want to travel or, have nice things or whatever it is, give back to, families. All those things matter. So figure out like what you want, reverse engineer how you can get to it. And then that's how you're going to go and hit your goals. So that's a big thing we've kind of looked at. We're like, dude, if we want to sign up 50 clients a month, how many demo calls do our team need to get on to get to that point? Yes. Right. And then just reverse. Okay, well, if our intro rate is 60% and only 40 go to a demo, and out of the demo, it's this, it's like, we know we need to generate X amount of leads, X amount of intro calls, X amount of demo calls. So just kind of reverse it back and kind of know your numbers. Like we didn't know our numbers for a lot. And once we figured out the numbers, it was,
I think most people don't know their numbers. That's I think that's a huge problem. They're kind of all over the place. So like keeping track of everything, KPI. I just had a really good question, actually. Like, what is the difference between y'all schedule today and back in August of 2019?
That is a good question. I think the biggest difference, man, is that we're not as, like Pierre said it earlier, man, we're not as focused on working in the business as we are focused on working on the business, right? Which is actually the most important thing. And it's what's going to get your business to the next level fastest, is actually like building systems and focused on how we can help the team grow, right? Like I heard a really good quote, and I said it earlier in the call, but it's like most profitable thing you can do at the beginning is focus on how to get more demos and close more demos and get more clients. Then once you get a team, it's actually teaching them how to do that exact same thing. So I think, just more meeting with the team, more building systems, more developing our product. Those are the things that we're focused on. It's a little bit more higher level than just, breaking up, in the afternoon, I do sales calls, and in the morning I do fulfillment. It's not exactly as much like that. It's more a little bit higher level, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just a different way to build when you have more people on your team. That's the only difference.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I've done like hundreds and hundreds of demo calls. And I think at the beginning, I was just more focused on, how can I fill my schedule with as many people who want to hear me out and hear what I have to say about our program and how we could help them. So I would just like more focus on that. And then obviously Ryan, I think was doing a little bit more like the fulfillment and the ad stuff. And I was like just focused on the sales when we first were beginning. I know he was traveling for a little bit while and he was on a different time zone. So we weren't even like kind of together for at least the first like 6 months or something. And then we got back and obviously we started meeting up. We only lived like 30 minutes away from each other, but I was just focusing on like sales. Like Joel kind of always says it, like set appointments, close appointments, set appointments, close appointments. That's all we were focusing on. Set appointments, close appointments. And then we're like, okay, we kind of got that down. Now what's the next stepping stone? What can we work on, to go from setting appointments, closing appointments to, increasing or making the product better, or, building out the systems, or continuing to, make our sales process better. And then it was just a stepping stone. And now to the point where, like, Ryan was kind of saying, we're just focused on some higher level stuff, some automations, improving the product. We're just, launch appointment setting through like monday.com and stuff. So we're kind of learning the ropes there, bringing some more people, trying to improve the product, increase, like he was saying, kind of that lifetime value of, hey, if clients are only paying us X dollars, how can we get them to pay us even more without going and getting 20 more people? Right? If we had every single client paying us an extra $1,000, we could almost hit our goal of that 250K just because we've increased the revenue per subscriber. So kind of just focusing on that internal stuff and just making sure, our team's happy. We're all on the same page. We've implemented a lot of like EODs, tracking what EOD is, just like end of days, like, hey, what'd you do today? Kind of posting in Slack. And then team meetings is something we never did. And now, we do like 3-4 team meetings a week.
That's huge. So last couple of questions, and guys, I really can't thank you enough. Been dropping value bombs after value bombs. Personal branding, because if people, we're going to plug you guys at the end here. If people look you guys up, you guys just seem like normal, mid 20-year-olds traveling the world. You guys don't focus too much about building a brand in getting clients. It's more of like, hey, I want to just, this is my lifestyle. If someone's starting out new, do you think it's good for them to just, hey, keep that on the personal, put that like the way you guys are doing it? Or would it be better to like fake it till you make it and pretend like you have all these things? Because again, you guys seem like it's super chill. It's like just you guys almost look like college dudes. But meanwhile, you guys are running $1 million business in the back. So I actually, and you guys are not the only ones. A lot of people are doing that. So I'm actually curious about both your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. We actually don't get that very much, but at the end of the day, man, me and Pierce are like super humble. I used to post like organic on Facebook. Like if you scroll down my Facebook profile, I was here organic from like stuff I was doing before, high ticket stuff. But not anymore, dude. Like to be honest with you, I feel like just having the agency, run the ads and do the kind of agency branding is a little bit more important in this space as opposed to the personal stuff, which is a little bit more along the lines of coaching. I would say that a lot of people focus on brand in general a little bit too early when they should be focused on direct response, which is just going out and getting more clients and doing sales calls, like Pierce mentioned, like hundreds and hundreds of sales calls before, really anything. So that's what I would suggest, man. But if you want to go build a personal brand and do all that stuff, that's cool too. You can probably get a couple more clients than we do if people checked out our Instagrams and stuff. But dude, we're also just normal ass, humble people.
Yes,
so.
very. What about you, Pierce?
Yeah. I mean, we like to have fun. We like to go get some drinks on the weekend, like do our thing. I think the same thing when I first started, and kind of going back to that first client thing, like I think posting in groups and stuff could definitely do that. Every time I had a client win, I'd go post it in ClickFunnels group and 3 other groups and message people and connect with them and post on my profile. Like if you kind of scroll like back in year 2 years ago, I would do that. I actually built a Facebook group called Entrepreneur Success Story. It's up to 2,000 members, and then I literally just stopped posting in it. Like I haven't posted in like 8-10 months because it's not something I want to focus on. I like doing that, but I'd rather just, continue to grow the business and maybe eventually start something, on the personal line. But I think it just really depends on the type of person you are, right? So I think we just kind of developed into something else. And, I don't really enjoy going and posting every day or flexing on this or that or whatever. So like to get stuff done, but kind of do it in the dark.
Do you guys have like an extra 5 minutes?
For sure.
Yes, because there's a couple questions that I want to get to them. Philip Tran asked, have you guys moved away from monthly retainers, and is it more just on contracts? And you guys kind of answered that, right? It's 90 days working with you guys. If it's a new solar company.
Yep.
And do you guys take on consultants too, or is it just solar companies that are like installers?
Our product is best suited for, like, anybody in the industry could probably sign up for our product at one level or another.
Nice. Do you guys think that that solar will be more prevalent? Shout out to Alan for this question. More prevalent in the southern states versus northern states, like colder versus warmer, or what do you guys think? Like, I'm sure you guys are probably getting more traction.
I mean, the warmer states, more people know about it, so it's not as new to them. So sometimes the lead cost will be a little higher. If you go into a colder state, they don't really know as much. But a lot of people have like, that they think, where it's like, oh, like I have snow on my roof, like I can't put solar on my roof. And then it's like, we'll just go put in a picture up with like snow with solar on the roof. And it's like, oh, you actually can, like they still work in the winter. Nice. I think it's just more of like the education. Like in the southern states, they're more educated on what solar is, and there's a lot more solar companies. In northern states, they don't know as much. They're a little bit more untapped. And I think what Ryan was kind of saying early, those northern states are going to be the ones who are going to, start blowing up even more, because let's say 5% of the state has it versus California, it's like 30% already has them, right? So definitely northern states would be bigger.
At what point did you guys get stuck the most when you're scaling the agency from, like, you guys are doing 6-figure months now? Was it the 10, 20K a month? And then once you guys eclipsed that, it was just like game over?
Yeah, I would say, that's a little bit hard to put our finger on, but I would say it was probably around that 30K a month, between 10 and 30, and really just, figuring out what was next. I feel like, being a little bit scared to invest in ad spend kind of held us up, but, it's been a pretty steady ride, not to like say we haven't had off months or anything like that, but it's been a pretty steady ascent. I want to say probably before we joined 7FA is when we were the most stuck, I would say.
Yeah. So like a 30K a month mark. All right. Last question from the people. What's the minimum ad spend you guys are asking your clients to spend on Facebook and on YouTube? So we'll do Facebook and YouTube.
$1,000 per month on Facebook and $1,500 a month on YouTube.
And I'm sure you have clients spending more, right? Than 1,000, but minimum is 1,000.
Yeah.
Minimum's 1,000. Yeah.
Cool. So the very, very, very last thing is if someone is on the fence right now, you know, they're a new agency owner, they've been following myself and Joel and all these people. What do you guys feel like 7FA helped you guys out with the most? I know systems and sales process was part of it. What else would you guys add onto it?
Yeah, a couple things, man. I mean, the sales process is just gangbusters, so you literally can't beat it. If you're doing a one call close right now, like you got to switch, I think. But dude, it's also just like systems and like how to run an agency and really how to like automate that agency. But like the number one thing that I would say is it actually teaches you how to go out there and get clients. Like it's a proven system to go out and get clients. And if that's something that you're struggling with, man, like you know, whoever's listening to this, I would say just jump in and you'll basically have the formula to go out and do it. It's just about implementing after that.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I mean, me and Ryan have kind of had the experience, like I said, before we joined F7FA, we had our own agencies that weren't doing too well. We kind of came together and, you know, if we never joined 7FA, we definitely wouldn't be where we're at today. So, you know, that and just like the networking, like, you know, getting to know everyone, networking, seeing everyone drop these wins, like just motivates you to know that like people, these are just average people. They're out here doing it. Like they're out here kicking it. You just got to learn from people who have what you want. And, you know, those are the things that we really wanted to do. So that was kind of the big thing for us. I remember actually on that sales call with Joel, like Ryan didn't even want to join. And I was like, bro, we have to join. Like he just bought like some other high ticket program. And I was like, dude, like we have to do this. We have to do this. And I swear Joel cause we got on Joel. We were like one of the first 10 people in. I was like, dude, what is a program? He's just like, bro, we're gonna help you scale your agency. And that's it. Like there was no, hey, you get this, you get that, you get that. And took the leap of faith. And obviously, you know, it's paid out and you guys could just see with the amount of success stories comes out of 7FA, definitely the best agency program out there right now.
And we appreciate you guys, man. So guys, thank you guys so much. I'm going to plug both of you guys' Instagrams. You guys can follow them. Again, super humble, chill dudes that running $1 million business in the background. You know, most people would never imagine that. So again, I really can't thank you guys enough. And for the people, appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to come back next Tuesday.